While some of Africa's powerhouse economies are growing, for many young people, the jobs are simply not there. In countries like Nigeria, more than half of the young people don't work or don't have enough work. Could entrepreneurship change that? On this program, we meet 3 young Africans meeting the challenge of starting their own business, creating jobs, not just for themselves, but also their communities and beyond.
Being a coffee entrepreneur is not just drinking coffee, there's a business side to it.
I was young, I was a girl, and I was trying to go into the furniture business. Because by the way, we started with 0 capital, so there wasn't really any money.
We want to be #1 in the world, and we are getting there.
But should more be done to help young self-starters get their dreams from an idea into a reality?
The challenges the entrepreneurs face in the African continent is a significant uphill battle.
The stakes couldn't be higher.
We are witnessing the 4th industrial revolution. Africa missed the last 3. We cannot afford to miss this one.
And can one of Africa's most powerful businessmen make a difference to their journey?
We've seen successes. We've seen hope restored in these young entrepreneurs across Africa.
Africa is a young continent, and so its future will be driven by the next generation. What's needed is to unlock their talents and great ideas so that they become self-starters. And in that way, we unlock the seeds of entrepreneurship, and the future looks bright. Africa's population is growing quicker than almost anywhere else on Earth. Each year, millions of young people come onto the job market, but the jobs are often simply not there, or they're badly paid. So some, like Kwabena Danso in Apa in rural Ghana, are creating their own businesses, providing jobs not just for themselves, but for others as well. For years, anyone who grew up around here and wanted to make it would have to leave for the cities like Accra or go abroad. Kwabena's mission has always been to create more options for everyone in his local communities. But even his grandmother thought he was mad to come back to Apa after university.
Actually, it was a tough decision as a child brought up in the rural community by your poor grandmother. And then after you having the chance to go to university, you want to come back to the village where there's limited opportunities. But for me, I really felt like there needed to be something, there needed to be a change, there needed to be development.
He worked hard running award-winning schemes to improve chances for local children and women. But he was looking for a way of financing his projects himself. He met an American inventor who was in the area looking for bamboo to make bicycles from. It was 2012, and his business was born. It was an immediate hit.
We had a huge demand, some from Holland, some from the US, but we didn't have the capital to even produce. So a lot of time people had to keep on, the lead time for people to get their products was very long. People really loved the product, it was quality, people loved it, but we couldn't deliver as people wanted.
This is the source for Boomer's bicycles, bamboo that just grows naturally along Ghana's many waterways. It could also be a metaphor for African economies at large, that when nurtured, they grow strong and multiply. This also says something about the natural ecosystem here, because for the first time, through these bicycles, rural communities now have sustainable livelihoods. When Kwabena started, he had 3 people working on the bikes. He battled his way to a sustainable business, and today there are 40 employees. As well as those workers, Boomers buys their bamboo from 20 local farmers and has plans to expand further into the local community.
A lot of these young people would have actually migrated to the Kumasi, to Accra, to the cities trying to find opportunities and employment, which is actually not there because there's a delusion that there's a lot of opportunities in the cities, which is not true. And so I'm happy that these young people are finding their jobs here and are happy with creating, supporting their families, creating their assets, and being able to live comfortably within their community and be able to be empowered economically.
Boomers Bikes is one of thousands of businesses which have been supported by the Tony Elumelu Foundation. Set up by one of Africa's more prominent businessmen, it gives entrepreneurs that it believes in $5,000 of seed money. Also, they are given online training, mentoring and access to a network of thousands of other alumni. With youth unemployment coming in as high as 80 and 90% in many African countries, helping young entrepreneurs create jobs for themselves and their peers could not be more important.
We believe in democratizing luck and institutionalizing opportunity. And that is why we play at the bottom of the pyramid. We have told entrepreneurs across Africa, even if you have only an idea, we will invest in you because we believe your ideas can transform Africa.
Lagos is the beating economic and cultural hub of one of Africa's biggest economies. You can find many entrepreneurs here seeking to make their name. In cities across Africa, entrepreneurs are coming together and finding support. From a standing start a decade ago, this year there are 618 so-called technology hubs supporting entrepreneurs across the continent. Each one typically provides co-working space and opportunities for support and give a sense of a new entrepreneurial drive. But the pressing need for these is stark. The World Bank projects that over 40 million jobs need to be created in Nigeria by the year 2030 in order to sustain a growing and youthful workforce. Adeyinka Tekena is one of those that the Elumelu Foundation has taken on. She couldn't understand why Kenya was always Africa's famous coffee producer when she knew that her home country of Nigeria could deliver just as strongly on the double espressos.
I believe Nigeria is truly blessed with resources. Obviously, we don't use a lot of it, but we don't even understand a lot of it. But I've always known that being Nigerian was very important to me as a Nigerian to have access to locally grown coffee. Having lived abroad before, I realized that we have treasures hidden back in our own backyards. Why are we not using that?
Passionate about serving Nigerian-grown coffee in her home country, Adeyinka was willing to face the challenges of setting up a business despite the early pitfalls.
Being a coffee entrepreneur is not just drinking coffee. There's a business side to it. I remember when I wanted to start the coffee business, like, who is going to drink coffee? You know Nigerians, coffee ke, who's going to drink that? When I started the business, obviously it was me. I was the accountant, I was the driver, I did everything.
But she persisted with her vision, and the money from the foundation gave her the start she needed.
Everybody requires a seed, and that was what we got, and that's what I got. And that gave me the opportunity to test out this idea. If you look at it, coffee is the second most traded commodity in the world, and the second most drank drink after water. And Nigeria has this gold. We're going to do it. We're going to push it. It was just deep in my heart. And then look at it today, from a simple idea, it's now a growing tribe. It's a growing movement.
Today, Happy Coffee is made up of 2 coffee shops and 2 mobile coffee units which cater at events and weddings. And most importantly, 13 people are directly employed at the company. And those local coffee growers have a dedicated and regular customer base. 25-year-old Jumoke Dada is another Nigerian who wanted to use the country's resources to create her own business. A trained architect, she ditched an internship to go it alone and pursue a vision of locally made furniture using local materials and, most importantly, championing African style. One problem though, she didn't have the money.
Initially, it was very challenging because most of the funds had to come from me. My parents weren't supportive of the whole idea because I was young, I was a girl, and I was trying to go into the furniture business. But later on, I started hearing about ways in which you can finance it. Because by the way, we started with 0 capital, so there wasn't really any money.
Luckily, some customers liked her design so much that they paid upfront so she could make her first few pieces. She had tapped into something that the market seemed to want.
One of the major issues we have in this part of the world, and I think it's spread out to Africa as a whole, is most furniture being used in homes in spaces are majorly imported. So it's kind of hard finding good premium furniture locally made by local guys using our own local resources. So I took it up as a challenge because I felt it would be something interesting to delve into that line, even though there is an option for me to import. But like, let's just try and explore. Let's see how it goes.
The exploring paid off. Today, 10 people work for her company. She has another 20 contractors who help out when the orders come in. And so, all 3 are growing their business. When we come back, we find out about the challenges they faced.
We've never gone to the banks. After these grants came in, we did the rest of the job with our profits.
And why success means so much to the new generation.
I think what keeps me going is just that I'm trying to do something for my people. I'm trying to make life better for some people who have employed somewhere and they earn a living. I'm trying to, in my own little way, put Nigeria on the global map.
Most people think that Huawei has come from nowhere. Mr. Ren, the founder, lived through a very difficult time in China's history, which included famine, being made redundant from the army.
74岁创造这个华为的时候，应该是任何经验都没有。
Huawei basically started very, very small. 1987, Shenzhen, in an apartment.
我找了几个人集资，这里面没有任何国家一分钱。
任总呢，总是拿着一个大茶缸，做很多讲话，就是我们要3分天下有其一。
你卖得很好了以后，他们也不供货了，就把我们逼到我们必须自己做我们的通信产品。
It fit perfectly what was needed at that time to become one of the biggest telecom companies in the world.
Welcome back to this BBC World News special looking at how 3 different African entrepreneurs are finding their way. Kwabena Danso from Ghana is making bicycles out of bamboo and selling them all over the world. Adeyenko Tekenya is championing homegrown Nigerian coffee in her stores, and Jumuke Dade is making African furniture out of local raw materials for a new generation of consumers to use. They are 3 of thousands of entrepreneurs who've been helped by a foundation set up by Tony Elumelu. It awards successful applicants $5,000 of seed money, as well as online training, mentoring, and access to a network of thousands of other entrepreneurs across the continent. Earlier this year, hundreds of them gathered in Nigeria's capital for some serious networking. As young Africans drive the continent into a new future, then perhaps this forum taking place here in Abuja will be the motorway that takes them there. There are thousands of young company owners who are present here, and they're given an opportunity to meet with executives and leaders of big financial institutions and also development agencies. Tony Elumelu made his name by turning Standard Trust Bank into a major player on the African banking scene. He knows that in order to succeed, self-starters must also embrace circumstances when things don't go well.
Entrepreneurship journey is not linear, because I don't know of any great man today or woman that has not had obstacles, that has not had dumb moments, that has not had those times you ask yourself, have I made the right choice? Have I made the right decision?
In countries such as the United States, failures by entrepreneurs are seen as essential on the long journey to success. Experts are calling for the same attitude to risk for these entrepreneurs in Africa.
The challenges the entrepreneurs face in the African continent is a significant uphill battle. First, they face administrative barriers, but also they face cultural barriers, because to be an entrepreneur is to accept failure, is to take risk. And that is not necessarily something that we do very well.
Young people who start their own businesses are more likely to hire other young people and spot new markets. Currently, the jobs for those who have work are often badly paid, leaving many in or close to poverty, despite them having a job. But through entrepreneurship, the potential for Africa's bulging youth population to transform the continent is massive. So what's the secret to succeeding? The foundation's chief executive has seen thousands go through the Elumelu program.
The only thing that separates those that succeed and those that don't is that one part never stop trying and the others stop trying. There's no such thing as failure. You must keep trying, you must keep reinventing yourself, you must keep going for it, and you will definitely succeed.
But Tony Elumelu still wants governments to do more to help these self-starters.
I call it hard and soft operating environment issues. The hard ones, the infrastructure everyone talks about. The soft infrastructure, rule of law, policies, property rights, taxation
What
issues.
about data?
Data, taxation issues. So these are things that we need to do. The truth is, our young ones are very energetic, very intelligent, eager to succeed, and you can see it in them.
At Boomer Bikes, the biggest problem Kwanso had was financing from the banks.
We've never gone to the banks. We have two troubles going to the bank as a small company. One is with interest rates, which is very high, about 36%, 31% is crazy. And so as a small business going for these rates will mean you are just killing your business. The other thing was because we also, as a small business, we didn't have the collateral the banks were asking for, and so we couldn't give what they were expecting. But so we did no guarantee, no surety. And so we did everything from our profits. After these grants came in, we did the rest of the job with our profits.
The foundation helps to bridge the gap between entrepreneurs with no startup funds and banks who want collateral.
We're taking entrepreneurs green. We help them start the entrepreneurial journey, and then those who have proved themselves, those who have taken that $5,000 seed capital and turned it into $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, who started off with no employees and now have 10 employees, they can now go on to apply for second stage capital. And coming from us is already an endorsement, because the VCs know that there's a basic level of good practice, business reporting and vetting that they have.
For Jumoke Dada, even when she had funding, staffing a business that needs to scale up quickly has proven to be a challenge.
It was just me when I began. Then I added like 2 more people. After that, we grew to after the first year, we grew to 10 people. And now sometimes we have up to 20, 30 people. And sometimes we even have to outsource to bigger companies that can handle all. Some days you feel miserable, hopeless. Some days you feel there's hope. But I think what keeps me going is just that I'm trying to do something for my people. I'm trying to make life better for some people I've employed somewhere and they earn a living. I'm trying to, in my own little way, put Nigeria on the global map. So that sort of thing gives me joy, even though sometimes it feels very hopeless and helpless.
She may have some bad days, but it's not limiting her ambition, which is stretching across Africa and sees an opportunity for the world beyond.
Now we are trying to scale across Africa, so we realize that the problem is the same all over Africa. Importation of furniture is high, and people are trying so hard to get good furniture. So we are trying to set up another experience center in Accra and in Cape Town as well. And hopefully we hope to transfer the African spirit to other parts outside Africa as well. So we are hoping later in future we set up our experience center in places like UK and US, where we have a lot of black people, so they can have a feel of, because apart from it's just beyond we doing just furniture, because part of the things we do is to try to incorporate a lot of African elements into it so that a lot of black people can feel, because it's one thing you have furniture in your house, it's another thing you have this emotional attachment to it because you see elements of your roots in it.
Jumoke Dada's business is still growing. She's developing virtual reality videos of her furniture to show at locations in Ghana and Kenya where people can go and experience them and hopefully order them.
I think everything you need is just inside of you. I think it's first of all you having to believe that you can do it first of all. Like I said, I didn't get support from anyone and we started with no money, but I don't know, it happened. So I would just advise anyone, just go ahead and do what you have to do.
For Adeyenko Tekenya, the future is also about expansion. She's going to open 2 more coffee shops in Lagos, bringing the total to 4. Eventually, she's hoping to build big and list on the stock exchange.
Only African entrepreneurs can sustain this continent, and that is what I truly believe. And I know that it will be built on the backs of entrepreneurs like myself. We're plagued with many things, lack of resources, infrastructure. We know all of these things exist, but I know that within us, there's a lot of creativity, there's a lot of resilience. I also know that we really just don't have a lot in our hands based on what our government is willing to provide for us. But I believe that as we build this ecosystem from within, we will begin to see solutions to the challenges that we face as a nation.
And for Boomer bikes, after selling across Europe, they're now targeting new markets in North America and Australia, all with an eye on growing the business and creating more jobs. Also, they've just opened a school for hundreds of local kids.
Currently, we are launching an educational institution which is going to actually provide education, high quality education for over 1,000 kids. For me, I get up every day looking into the futures, looking bright. Though I feel there could be downturns, but every day I feel optimistic because I look at where I started from and look at where I'm going. We want to create a multi-million company that is not just about making profits, but also improving lives in the rural communities.
And finally, when your grandmother comes into your workshop, what does she say now?
She's been here a couple of times, and anytime she comes here, those 2 times were like tears because she felt like she couldn't believe what has been accomplished over the years.
All 3 of our entrepreneurs are among the new generation of African business people determined to make their mark. Their success could also be critical for the continent as a whole.
We are witnessing the 4th industrial revolution. Africa missed the last 3. We cannot afford to miss this one. And it is a digital economy that will ensure that we concretize the will and the desire of our governments, of the private sector, to catalyze economic growth by empowering entrepreneurs.
The truth is, there's no science about entrepreneurship and success. You can support 1 million people and you don't record 2 or 3 successes. And actually, it's not the quality of your idea that makes you a good entrepreneur. And the market must be right, the operating environment must be right for you to succeed.
Delivering the right operating environment for success could not be more critical if entrepreneurs are going to add a shot in the arm to Africa's economic prospects and create the jobs that people need. Global surveys suggest that in Africa, people view entrepreneurs with more positivity than anywhere else. And yet Africa is the region least supportive of entrepreneurs. When you see so many young budding entrepreneurs gathered in one place, it really gives you a sense of their level of enthusiasm and their determination to succeed. Now, what separates each individual from the other are the ideas that they have, but also geography. That's because not all African governments understand this idea of entrepreneurship, and not all of them can give them the necessary support, whereas other African governments are doing the maximum to create an enabling environment. And so without certainty, it is important for the private sector to step in, to act as a bridge to capital and social investment. That's all for this series on entrepreneurship, but we'll cover the issue extensively on the other BBC dedicated programs in Business Africa and Talking Business Africa. From myself, Lerato Mbele, and the team here in Abuja, thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.